The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Michelle Parno has lived and worked in Lake Forest for over 2 decades. Michelle's lending experience, when combined with her real estate expertise, makes her an invaluable asset to her clients as they navigate their home buying or selling process. Call Michelle now at 847-528-8721, 847-528-8721. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit LaracyCPA.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com. I'm excited to share with you something special from our Lake Forest community, the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa, located at 775 North Bank Lane in Lake Forest near Wisconsin Avenue. This just isn't any spa. They offer an amazing blend of traditional spa services plus the added benefit of medical procedures and treatments. In a relaxing and luxurious spa environment, you can enjoy a range of cosmetic and aesthetic treatments. These are all performed under the supervision of top medical professionals. The Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa provides skin care, facial rejuvenation, body contouring, laser hair removal, Botox, dermal fillers, chemical peels, and much more. What's great is that each treatment is tailored not just to enhance your appearance, but also to address specific skin concerns and to promote overall well-being. So if you're looking to pamper yourself and take your beauty routine to the next level, give the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa a call at 224-768-8028 or visit them at their location on North Bank Lane. It's an experience your skin will thank you for. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, Herrick, JM, and Paul G. What's up, brother? Well, stay off Oakwood.
I've had 3 people ask me if you could come to their block.
If you're going to waste time and money putting ordinances on the book, you got to enforce them.
I'm on Amazon right now. Radar gun. I'm tired of talking about this. Time to take action. I'm getting a radar gun, and I'm sitting on Oakwood with you.
That's perfect.
Get some data.
A Bushnell. It's for baseball, but it'll work the same thing, right? Add to cart.
I mean, listen, there's nothing. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. I mean, if you keep talking about it, keep bringing it up, it'll get addressed.
But this thing on Oakwood's been a squeaky wheel.
Hold on.
For me, living here for 30 years in my house, it was going on before that, and it just the city just doesn't want to do.
3840, 3840, 3840, 40, 47, 49, 49. Wow.
With your radar gun.
Let's do it. Which block?
Well, I'm sure there's a bunch of people here that complain about Middle Fork. Because when Ellowa Farm had the zoning hearing to redo what they were doing, which got passed, there were a couple residents that came to the zoning board meeting saying, people are speeding down Middle Fork, and this is just going to increase it. And, people are out walking their dogs and all the stuff that people do on virtually every other street. Somebody's going to get hit. So.
But I sat out there 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, just did an hour. There was 40 something cars that
Skoo bring coffee.
He was in his PJs, his footy pajamas. What up, Jeff Urso?
What's up, boys? How are we?
Hey guys.
Playing traffic cop.
I saw that. How was it?
Eye-opening, literally. It's I've never noticed how many foxes are in town. And there's another fox. I probably saw half a dozen going back and forth with weasels in their mouth. School buses speeding on Oakwood. Okay, we got a school bus. $26, $27, $26 on a school bus. I've seen somebody doing a 49 and a 20 on Oakwood.
If you're going to waste time and money putting ordinances on the book, you got to enforce them.
I'm on Amazon right now. Radar gun. I'm tired of talking about this. Time to take action. I'm getting a radar gun and I'm sitting on Oakwood with you.
That's perfect.
Get some data.
A Bushnell. It's for baseball, but it'll work the same thing, right? Add to cart.
I mean, listen, there's nothing. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. I mean, if you keep talking about it, keep bringing it up, it'll get addressed.
But this thing on Oakwood's been a squeaky wheel. I mean,
hold on.
For me, living here for 30 years in my house, it was going on before that, and it just the city just doesn't want to do.
3840, 3840, 3840, 40, 47, 49, 49. Wow.
Now, school bus, you should get the, don't they have on the back those how am I driving signs with the phone number? That should get reported when it's, a school bus.
It's getting reported here.
Get Montgomery on the phone.
I mean, I was only out there an hour. I'm like, holy crap. And then you got a posse of electric scooters going down the middle of the road. This guy's going to speed up. Oh, that's nothing. I'll get these.
That guy almost hit him.
I got it all.
You hear what he said? He said, "Hey, stop right here. You're supposed to speed off the street."
I think we caught that, Skoo.
Here's the problems.
Yeah.
That right there, if that guy wasn't looking,
Yeah.
he takes out a couple.
4 kids. Oh, not moving for the car. What the hell?
That's the Skoo's paying them to do that to slow the traffic down. Hey kid, how much? $5. Ride down my street real slow all day.
My kid begs me for that thing all the time. He's 12 and he's like, everyone else has one. I'm like, no. I'm like,
they're all over. I saw them in Florida. I mean,
but it's going to be a generation of no cardio. I'm like,
how much do they cost even? I mean, are they expensive?
I think they range from like 1,000 to a few.
Wait, what are you guys talking about?
The
scooters? Oh, yeah.
They all electric bikes. And we're not talking about the scooters for
they're motorcycles. You should call them motorcycles. You got to get a license to be on a motorcycle. You got to get a license to be on anything.
You got to be 16 to drive them on public roadways. That's Illinois state law.
In the middle of public roadways?
Yeah, you cannot. I think if you're under 16, you cannot operate a motor vehicle, and it can be an electric or gasoline. It's not defined. I think you cannot operate a motor vehicle on a public roadway unless you have a driver's license. That's the law.
But even then, you have to follow traffic laws.
Oh, 100%. Right. But I mean,
just because you're on a scooter doesn't exempt you from traffic laws and also basic physics.
Yeah, it's sad. I mean, it's going to take something really bad to happen for people.
And I'm pretty sure if you Pete, do your magical Google search with ChatGPT, I'm sure you can find somewhere in the country.
Yeah, me on Oakwood. I recorded it. I just posted it.
I'd rather see golf carts around town. Like let these guys get some golf carts.
Yeah.
It's like, are segways still a thing, or is that old news now?
No, he went off the side of a hill.
Yeah, I remember people used to be riding those segways around.
Seriously, the dude that created it drove his off the side of a hill because he was trying to go off-roading with it.
It's like the guy who invented the Atkins diet died because he passed out and hit his head on the concrete. It's true.
It's his irony.
Give me a source. Look at me. We love the coppers. I love coppers. I get it. But you know what? More time on Oakwood, less time on roofs.
Well, all right.
Yeah, these guys are
in defense of the police.
100%.
as I said a minute ago, since you posted that, I've had 3 people on 3 different streets say to me, "Can you send Pete over with his radar gun to my block?" And I think, and like, look, I get it. Skoo is very vocal about it, and I understand why. But I think you're gonna find everywhere people speeding on side streets where they shouldn't. I see it, like I said a minute ago, we've seen it on Middle Fork here by Eloa. People, when Eloa had its special use permit up before the zoning board last year or 2 years ago, I can't remember exactly when, but there were residents that spoke before the zoning board saying people are speeding down Middle Fork Drive, and if you put this cafe in, more people are going to speed down Middle Fork Drive, which I didn't agree with. I don't think people going for a cup of coffee at 9 in the morning at the Eloa Cafe are racing down Middle Fork. It's more, kids and stuff, or people in a hurry to get to work in the morning, stuff like that. But I think you find it on every block, and
It's everywhere,
Sue's
Joe.
block is obviously no exception. I mean, we had the tragic incident with the guy killed on Mayflower a few years back, and we know someone that lives on that block. And before Skoo
Those
brought
are
up
adults. I'm
Oakwood,
talking we're talking about kids now. This is serious shit. This is kids. You're talking about 50 miles an hour on a 20, and you got
yeah,
6 kids on scooters in the middle of the street that aren't moving for a car. That is showing me a lack of feedback that, you know what, they know nothing's going to happen to them. It doesn't get more blatant than that.
right. And
I
and the
don't think
idea
you can
here's
put
the thing
this
about
Hold
on.
on.
speed
We
bumps.
let Jeff go ahead.
No,
Okay.
sorry, but I don't think you could put this on the cops, man. Like we talked about last week, 5 zones. This is zone 1. They got a lot of stuff to do. This is not on the cops. This is a cultural thing that people need to address. There should be more kids at play signs up. Slow down, your kids live here. Like we talked about last week, we've had this problem. Every community has this problem. Knollwood, Lake Bluff, Lake Forest. Everyone has the same exact problem on all the streets. We addressed it in Knollwood with speed humps, and when you drive fast over it, you learn a lesson, and your car learns a lesson. So it really helps. It really works. We did it. The difference is Knollwood, we have 8 miles of road. Lake Forest, I don't know how many miles of road are in Lake Forest, but it's hundreds, if not more. It's probably not a plausible thing for everywhere in Lake Forest, but around parks, around especially like West Park right here, that might be a great spot. All the streets around West Park, anywhere there's a ton of kids that congregate would be a really good spot. You can't put it on arteries, you can't put it on Green Bay or Western or nothing like that. But these side streets that are near parks, South Park, West Park, North Croft, wherever we're talking, those would be ideal places to at least try it out. Maybe put it in there for a year or two. They have removable ones. They're much more expensive. I don't like them. I don't think they're as practical, but we can do that. But
Here's
just
here's the
ask the police
challenge
to do it,
though.
I don't think is realistic.
Here's a challenge though with speed bumps, and I think you encountered this with
Humps.
Knollwood. Was Everyone wants them until they put them in front of their house. Because if it's in front of your house all night, you're going to hear all
It's
night
half
with
and half.
cars going over.
Yeah, so half of the people want one in front of their house, right? I mean, we used to get requests be like, please put one in front of my house. And it's usually people with kids or neighbors that have kids that want, like, I don't care. I have one literally 10 feet from my driveway. Um, a lot of people
Do you
want them.
hear it from your house?
No, not any more than you hear anything else. Honestly, it's like I used to live next to a train, and the train bothered me for the first 30 days, and then I never heard the train
Got
for a year.
used to it.
Yeah, and then like when someone come to my house, they're like, dude, there's a train. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. I don't. Yeah.
What about how does it work with snow plowing?
So that was a big issue. So we had all these people that had never plowed anything in their lives and tell us how bad it would be for snow plowing. But our plow guys, and I think no, we have 20 of them now. They drive slower over them. They know where they are. They'll wreck their plow if they're driving 30 miles an hour. Absolutely.
Hey, hold on. Skoo couldn't make a
They'll get plowed.
Yeah, they're gonna slowly plow the hump. I promise you. So
And
maybe
how much do they run? Do you remember from when
I
you're,
think our actual asphalt cost. Don't forget you got to cut the road. right? Because that's how asphalt readheres. And then it's a 3-inch, the center point's 3-inch and it goes out 10 feet. So imagine a 10-foot thing, top at 3-inch. I think it was $1,500. Signs, I think, are a couple $100. I mean, it's under $2,000.
Yeah. Another thing that you see in newer developments, I don't think it's practical for a place like Oakwood, but we have it on Middle Fork. It's a newer development, is the traffic circles. And
Yeah.
in Naples, like every residential neighborhood in Naples has traffic circles when you get onto the side streets. Now, the problem you have, and I'll use Middle Fork as the best example, is everybody slows down for the circle, but as soon as they get away from the circle, they speed up. It's like, they're like trying to make up the time they lost going around the circle. I've seen that.
I've heard that argument too, so people say the same thing with humps, right? In between humps, they're like, oh, they go over it and then they speed up, but they're gonna have to slow right back down. And when you think of speeding up, and if you took your radar gun and actually check this, you think a guy's really speeding up, it's gonna hit 20, 25 tops before he has to start slowing down again. It's
Yeah.
almost funny. It's almost like
Another interesting idea. We saw this in the subdivision in Florida where Debbie's parents are, is they do an unusual speed limit on the street. So instead of it being
33.
25 or 30, it's 27 miles per hour. And it catches your attention.
Yeah.
So that could be something to look
You
at.
do that
But
with
I think to
coupons.
your point, it's not fair to blame Lake Forest Police
Why
or
not?
any police department for
Just
that.
why not?
So let me ask you something, Pete. You really
Yeah.
want the guy on zone 1 sitting there for an hour, and meanwhile, someone, do you know how many calls they get to Jewel and all these businesses down here? I mean,
Jeff, I hear you. I got people.
Lululemon.
I got people contacting me saying they're in Dunkin' Donuts for 2 hours. Now I know it's not all
not
the
in
cops.
Dunkin' Donuts for 2 hours.
I
Who's contacting you saying that? Have you seen a cop in Dunkin' Donuts for 2
yeah, I
hours?
have actually. Yes,
No,
I
you
have.
haven't. Not
Yes, I
unless
Only
have.
when they do that, only when they
only
do
when they do
that
the
cop
thing.
on a
Yeah.
roof promotion.
I've never seen a cop sit in a restaurant for 2 hours. I've lived here.
That's
I
nonsense.
wasn't there with a stopwatch. Maybe that's the next thing that I got to do. But here's what I do know. Skoo said he couldn't make the meeting, but he said that there are 2 radar guns, those little things on the street now. So
Those I hate those. Those are the worst. Those, and I'll tell you why. People think that it slows down people. I disagree. When my punk kid was young, I mean, I almost killed him.
He tried to see how fast he could
Yeah,
go.
that's what they do. I mean, that's honestly, like, yeah, an adult might be like, oh my gosh, I'm going a little fast. I'm gonna mitigate this.
Remember, what was that movie where the guy came back to play baseball when he was older? And he's pulled over to the side of a road
Oh,
because he was a pitcher. Was it not The Natural,
was
but
it Kevin Costner?
I don't think it was Kevin Costner. It wasn't. I don't remember. It was a
I don't know what
guy
you're
who
talking about.
it was
He went to
based
go
on a
play for
true.
Tampa Bay. Yeah, he
It
was
was based on a true story where a guy had played when he was young, but then he gave up, and he still had it. He was coaching like high school baseball or something. There's
100%.
this one scene, I'll never forget it, where he pulls over the side of the road and just starts pitching next to one of those things and realizes just how fast he can throw a baseball still, and that like inspired him to. And he did, and like I said, it's based on a true story where he did make the major leagues. It was a great movie, great family movie for people who love
great. I'm
baseball or
looking it
just
up
nice
right now.
stories.
It's
So
called
what
For the Love
about
of the Game. Gotcha.
Lake Forest Place is very appreciative of that.
But like I said, here's like you can put a cop on Oakwood today, and someone's going to
Well, they
speed
did.
on Mayflower at the same time.
Yeah.
And the residents on Mayflower are going to say,
So do
"Hey,
nothing. So
why
do
does
nothing.
Skoo get a cop on his block and we don't get a cop on our block?" And then the people on Middle Fork are going to say, "Where's a cop on my
Well,
I
block?"
don't know. Why are people calling me up saying, "Hey, go on my block"? They're telling you to go on their block. So there must be a demand for it. I don't know.
There is a demand, but
yeah. You want to set
you
an
have to.
example, do it around Lake Forest days, do it around days that they got baseball games. If you see someone speeding by West Park during a baseball game, let the cops light those people up. I mean, I think you need to make an example of when to do it, but just to have a plan of just saying, hey, let's put a cop over here. I mean, cops with their pension salaries, everything, they're very, very expensive and they have a lot of work to do. So let's
How
use
about,
them.
how about a cop over at the dog park?
That was
Wow.
an
Does anybody know what's the
What?
backstory on that shooting at the
I
dog
read
park?
it. I read it. I don't know. I'm gonna just repeat what I read. It was
Yeah.
two people that got in an argument over a dog at the dog park. Then the argument escalated into the parking lot. There was pushing back and forth. I don't know who was the instigator, and blah blah. It could have been both.
Allegedly, yeah.
One gentleman had a CCL and a FOIA card and a revolver in his center console, and he went and got it. He shot the other person. The person that did the shooting called 911 and waited for the police to arrive, an ambulance. And then he was charged with a Class X felony right after that. So the thing was he used too much force for that type of situation. So the other person didn't have a weapon. The assertion, I'm going to use assertion, his life was not in jeopardy. I mean, there could have been
That's the threshold for use of a
but,
concealed carry.
Yeah, this isn't the Wild West, right? So,
Right.
That's what I read.
It's not Florida with the stand your ground law where
Yeah,
that
and we could call this Lake Forest, but that was dangerously close to Bannockburn, let's be honest.
Do we know if the people involved were actually Lake Forest residents?
That I don't know. I don't know. Do you know where that dog park is, Joe?
Sure.
It's right before Mariano's. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even realize
It's fake forest.
Well, I don't think that's a Lake Forest park, right? That's one of the I think it's a county forest preserve park.
Yeah, it's not owned by the city, it's owned by the county. So
yeah, I think these county forest preserves, I go to the ones in Mettawa or I go wherever, Vernon Hills, so
you could get, God forbid, two guys get into a fight at Duffers and one of them pulls a gun on the other. You just don't know these days about something like that.
Well, I know something.
You went
about
through that.
You can't CCL. You can't bring into bars, right? I mean,
yeah, but
can't bring
it's not like you have a metal detector at the door to see if they actually have it.
Oh no, 100%. Yeah. Well, yeah, no, it could happen anywhere.
And as all my friends who have CCLs say, they would rather do what's the phrase? I'd rather do 6 to 12 than be 6 feet under.
Yeah, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. It's a terrible
thing. Judged by 12, carried by 6. Yeah.
No.
So,
you know what? Unless someone's breaking into your home and your family's in jeopardy, I don't see any reason.
I mean, look, they're not allowed on public transit, but having ridden the CTA for years, I could see why someone would want to carry one.
Look, I hear arguments both ways. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
but part of your CCL training is that you only are to fire that shot if your life or someone else's life is truly in jeopardy. So unless this guy was about to stick a pit bull on him,
right,
and even then pull a knife on him,
shot the dog.
Yeah, I don't know what, but I'm sure this will hopefully iron out. I mean, we'll see how it goes. But
should we put up
that's something that could happen anywhere, unfortunately. That could happen.
This is just one of those occurrences. I don't think that is anything that has to do with CCLs. I don't think it has anything to do with anything else. I think it's
people will turn it into a gun control narrative.
I think this is just a bad situation, and I don't have all the facts in the case. All I did was read what I read on Lake McHenry scanner page, whatever, and
which is a pretty good source of local information. I always tell people don't read the comments though on Lake McHenry.
So don't read the comments on anything.
So I'm going to ask this just quickly. So the police they don't have to do anything differently. Everything's cool.
I think, if people should go to those,
we'll let it go.
Coffee with the cop. People should go to those coffee with the cop things that they hold every few weeks at the local coffee shops. Why? Because I think it's a good idea. People get to know their local police, first of all.
Why?
But, look, obviously,
I would go on this one, Pete.
Okay, why? I'm just saying, why?
Well, having community police is a huge asset. That's what Lake Forest and Lake Bluff have versus I'm in Oakwood again, county sheriff. We don't have that same. We used to have a guy. His name was Bam Bam. He'd always be in our area, but we don't
Bam
have.
Bam.
Bam Bam was awesome, man. He was the guy.
And Pebbles was the clerk.
Yeah, but having community police where the cop. I mean, these cops know these kids from first grade all the way up through high school. A lot of our police officers that I've known, some of them have been in town since I've been in high school or right after high school. It's a great to have a personal relationship. Cops aren't out there to make everyone's lives bad, to give out tickets. They're out there to protect and educate. I mean, they're doing
Yeah.
I'm not blaming the cops. Where I'm going with it, I'm going to leave it alone. I don't think it's the cops. I think it's their bosses, and they're the ones that direct where they go. And the data that I have seen is I don't think they're being put in the right situations. That's all. That's all. But
Well,
now,
like I said, it's easy to sit back and for us to say that.
Monday morning.
But I think
Monday morning,
these
I was
guys
on
do
the
a lot.
street with a radar gun, Jeff, and I saw it.
These guys do a lot.
I saw 6 kids almost get hit. I saw somebody doing a 50 on a 20, and I guess it was important enough where they got 2 radar guns on the street now from the cops. So we'll leave it at that. That's all.
Yeah. No, we have the same thing.
But like I said, there will be. I bet you as soon as this show airs, you're going to get more comments from people saying, "Hey, come to my block."
Well, I will do that. Here's what I need help with. I need somebody with me to take the notes because it's hard to video, to take the gun, and Skoo was a little bit of a help there for a little bit, but his AD.
Once he had about five cups of coffee and got out of his pajamas.
Before you jump off this subject, Pete, the one thing I would say is before you do anything, have a solution ready, right? That's what
Ooh.
No,
hey, what's Pete's favorite phrase? I hate throwing out problems without offering.
It can't be, hey, the guy's at Dunkin' Donuts having a break and he should be over here. That's not a solution.
Here's the solution. You have a podcast that's saying there's a problem, have been saying it for a long time. You have a 30-year resident saying that it's been a problem.
Yeah, but you're beating a drum. What's the answer?
Well, let's see. The answer is they got the radar signs there now. Let's see if that does something. And then hopefully,
according to Jeff, it doesn't really do anything. But look, you could put a cop there 23 hours a day, and the 24th hour people will speed down the street. So, I mean, unless we spend so much money that we put a police officer on every block in this city, which is God knows how much that would cost, you're going to have a problem somewhere.
So it's also
you do need to educate. I think they
educate.
The cops do a good job of going to the schools and talking to the kids and stuff like that. Maybe they can do a little more of that.
I saw 6 kids educated on electric scooters in the middle of the street.
Well, I think this is a new technology that
1 hour. I was there 1 hour and I saw this.
But Pete, in general, whether it's guns, speeding, drugs, you name it. Government has a very bad track record at banning things because when people really truly
didn't
want
say to ban
something,
anything.
What? You're trying to ban speeding. You're trying to ban speeding is against the law, yet lots of people do it. Okay? Murder is against the law, yet how many thousands of murders are there a year?
All right. That's what I did. Okay, you said, what's your solution, Jeff? That's what I did. I went out there and saw it for myself, and it is a problem. So I got the data. I proved it.
I think you're halfway there. I think you've done the education part. You're educating people right now, which is really important. Like we put up signs that say drive like your kids live here, right? You're doing the education part. My point is the solution. The solution could be one ways, could be speed humps, it could be temporary ones, it could be hey, let's have a plan when you want to talk about police officers, let's go after where parks and schools are. But I think you have to have a plan of what you're asking for because you can't just say, hey, let's triple up police presence. I mean, there's no room in the budget for that.
Didn't say to do that either, but what I did say was if you have a different traffic pattern, which we do, and this has been like in this planning, and I don't know how much that budget costs to do that, people are going to take alternative routes, right? So you put somebody on, especially 30 minutes before school starts, because that's what I see. Traffic's fine. 30 minutes before, bam, it's going crazy, and you have to stop.
That's a great plan. That's a great plan.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
Well, and school is the school year over for?
It's over.
Yeah. So
But hey,
I always
listen,
kind of laugh.
Lake Forest days. Let's have our guys, men and women. Sorry, let's have them out there making sure that people aren't speeding when there's hundreds of children riding their bikes to West Park. I mean,
I kind of laugh every fall when school starts. There's signs all over the place, not just in Lake Forest, but like in every community saying, "Schools open, drive carefully," or something to that effect. You see those signs up and stuff like that. And I'm
Take the
thinking,
speeders out, Joe. What about the kids driving in the middle of the street with electric scooters that are going 20 miles an hour, 40
well, I
miles
think
an
you're
hour?
going to see some state. I think you're going to see some state legislation on that in the
I
next
thought we
year or
already
so.
did. Didn't the state
Or
do
maybe
something?
we have.
I thought
Forgive
there
me,
was
I haven't kept up with every bill down there. But again, government. It's very easy for someone to say there ought to be a law and we ought to ban something and we ought to do something. But
There's
when you
already an
get into the
ordinance.
practical,
Enforce it.
how did the
Enforce it.
war on drugs work?
This is not the
Not
war
too
on drugs,
well,
Joe. This is electric scooters in Lake Forest that's been talked about for 2 years on this show,
right?
where we've had other people videoing kids in the streets doing the same thing, and the kids are still
Sure.
doing. So there must not be the feedback to the kids. You know what? It's like shoplifting in a Target. Ain't nothing going to happen to me, so I might as well pick up a few things,
Hey,
literally.
when I was growing up, the cops came every year and told kids not to do drugs, but there were kids still doing drugs.
Do drugs.
Oof.
Do drugs.
Just say
Every
no. Nancy Reagan, just say no.
there,
But no,
that's the biggest. Ever since, look, now we're going to get
well,
in
I
this
agree.
very
The war
political
on
thing.
drugs was a miserable failure. I agree. And like I said, government has a horrible track record at banning things. So when I hear people calling for gun control or abortion
Okay,
control
all right.
or even border
Listen,
control,
I
people
think it
want to
has to
do
be
something, they're going to figure out a way to do it.
back. If you went back to the scooters, I think it's a parent thing, right? I think if parents really wanted to enforce this, again, I have a 12-year-old who's probably one of the craziest ones around, and we don't let him get this. He rides his dirt bike in some of our friends' private lots and stuff. I mean, he goes crazy with that stuff, but at the end of the day, we don't want, we're like, hey, I have it for different reasons, but I understand what everyone's saying. But if the Mulfs attack this, the Mothers of Lake Forest page, um, they're like, hey, this, I think it would be kind of a cultural thing where people are like, hey, we don't be riding this on the street, So it'll be parents sending that message to kids that will keep them off the roadways. I don't think a police officer pulling them over is going to do a
Well, you know what? 6 dead kids in the middle of the street, that'll do it. Critically injured, that'll do it. All right,
sure.
we've beaten this horse. We'll see what happens. We got radar signs on Oakwood now. We'll see if anything changes. Oh, the school year's over. Gee, speeding's gone away. Go figure. Hey, did you guys check the notes out on the city council meeting?
I read it.
Yeah. Good
Uh,
job as always summarizing, Mr. AI
yeah.
Jansons.
Well, everybody should be using AI for everything. So it's like if somebody's going to shame you for using AI, that's stupid.
So one
Stupid.
day someone hijacks AI and figures out a way to
Yeah,
change
one
how people
day.
think about something.
One day.
I've seen the Terminator, huh?
So what do you think? Should the city spend $3,500 to upgrade that crap so Lake Forest Place can watch the city council meetings?
My name's Joanne Desmond. I live at 1681 Yale Court in Lake Forest. Under the new business item on the agenda, I would like to request that the City Council not suspend the Lake Forest Public Education and Government Access Cable Channel as recommended and invest in the $3,360 to upgrade the equipment to make it fully functional. As you may be aware, 1/4 of Lake Forest residents qualify as seniors over 65 years of age. This is a population most impacted by this recommendation. As a senior citizen myself, and serving on the Lake Forest Lake Bluff Senior Citizens Foundation, the Library Board, and on the Deerfield Township Dementia Friendly Community Committee, I am aware of many seniors whose only access to watch city meetings is through cable TV. I'm speaking for those seniors, many of whom are uncomfortable using computers to stream meetings independently or with assistance, and would not otherwise be able to participate in their local government if they did not have access to cable. On a personal note, my husband, who passed away over a year ago, found cable TV access to city and Lake County meetings to be a rewarding way to pass his days and feel connected when he was not well. I know there are many seniors unable to enjoy active lives and who do not have adequate technology skills. Many of these seniors enjoy the company of cable TV and would feel further disenfranchised from our city government if they did not have access to these meetings in a way that they are most comfortable. It is a small price to pay for our seniors. Many of them have lived in Lake Forest for many, many years. Thank you for your attention.
The next item is new business. And tonight's new business, we'll introduce Carrie Kopp, Assistant to the City Manager. And this is to authorize the city managers to suspend the Lake Forest Public Education and Government, PEG, access cable channel as provided in the Comcast franchise agreement.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. Tonight, we're asking you to provide direction to staff on whether to continue maintaining the public education and government access channel or whether to suspend it. We recognize that it's prudent for us to periodically review our communication tools and ensure that we are focusing on those mediums that have the greatest reach and impact, while also maintaining transparency and eliminating redundancy. So by way of background, the city has provided the PEG channel through our Comcast franchise agreement at no cost. However, we are responsible for the cost of managing and upgrading equipment associated with the channel. We currently only use the channel to broadcast 3 public meetings: City Council, Plan Commission, and Finance Committee. Those meetings are also live streamed on our website and on our YouTube channel. Additionally, meetings are not rebroadcast on the cable channel. They are only directed to links on the website for on-demand videos, again, through the website or the YouTube channel. Finally, when no meetings are streaming on the broadcast on the cable channel, there are informational slides that continuously scroll across the cable channel, but those are used to fill airtime essentially. So anything that is on the PEG channel is also available on the city's website. As council is aware, the AV system in this room was upgraded beginning in December 2024. And while that upgrade, it resulted in improvements for our streaming services and for the quality of the sound and the video in here, what it didn't do is improve the quality that goes out on the cable broadcast. And that's because we don't have control over the quality that goes out on the broadcast. That's a Comcast directed issue. And so right now, what we have are compatibility issues between our AV system and the cable channel. Specifically, we currently need to update the HDMI to SDI converters. They need to be replaced, and that will allow the informational slides to go out on the broadcast. We also have to replace the battery backup that's at the end of its useful life. And so for your information, the scrolling slide deck has not played in several weeks because of these issues. We have not to date received any complaints about that issue. So at this point, given the current status of the necessary resources we need to put in, staff thought this would be an opportunity to bring this forth to council, take a holistic look at our communication channels, and identify if continuing the PEG channel makes sense at this juncture, given its poor quality and antiquated nature, and the change in our residents' habits for how they obtain information from the city. So we did ask Comcast for metrics on PEG channel viewership, and that's not something they keep track of, and they were not able to provide that. So we looked at the 2023 community-wide survey to determine viewership habits. You can see at the bottom of this chart here, only 1% of survey respondents identified that they use the PEG channel to obtain information from the city as either their first, second, or third choice. And that 1% is representative of 14 people. Conversely, 54% of people stated that they use the city's website, or 59% of people said that they utilize the e-newsletter to get information about the city. That e-newsletter currently reaches approximately 12,000 subscribers, and it does have links to the live stream meetings available in that publication. Also, it's important to note that we did not broadcast the last city council meeting on May 19th on the cable channel, and we received no complaints or calls from residents. We also look to see what our neighbors are doing in similar situations, and Comcast provided data stating that Glenview, Highwood, Lincolnshire, Lindenhurst, and Winnetka have all recently suspended their PEG channels. Communities that are currently maintaining their channels include Deerfield, Highland Park, Zion, and Lake County. And so for next steps, if council were to authorize the city manager to suspend the PEG channel, staff would take the following steps before the channel goes off the air. First, we would be communicating the suspension of the channel in the e-news and ensure our residents understand that the live stream will still continue on both the city's website and the YouTube channel. We would also continue to add our links to our public meetings to the e-news that goes out, and then we would also add the links to our on-demand videos after they happen. And finally, staff is willing to offer in-person training to anyone who needs assistance with understanding where the access is to the meetings on the website or the YouTube channel. And finally, just a note, because we're not changing the franchise agreement in this situation, we would be able to resume the cable channel if we so chose in the future. But we believe that making this change would enable us to direct our resources to mediums that are most utilized by our residents and maintain transparency while we're eliminating that redundancy. And so with that, I'll take any questions you may have.
Open up for questions.
Is this council meeting being streamed?
This one is being streamed and broadcast on the cable, yes.
Okay. But part of the problem is you don't know how many people are really watching.
That's correct. So Comcast does not keep metrics on PEG viewership. So last week, by choice, we chose not to broadcast it on the channel to see what kind of feedback we got, and we received none.
All right. One thing I'd offer is anybody watching out there, let us know. So you can text my cell phone or call me. 847-338-4838, and let's see if anybody responds or see how many respond so we get some idea if anybody's out there. Just informal, it's not a real survey per se.
Sure.
But again, 847-338-4838.
Ted?
It's not a question, it's really more of a statement. I haven't watched this channel in years, and my last recollection is the quality was so bad. I mean, it really was a deterrent to even want. I mean, you couldn't see anyone sitting here. The quality was so poor that I don't think it was really doing a service to anybody. And I think staff has come up with enough easily viable and accessible options for residents in the staff's offer to help advise and direct residents who may not be technologically up to speed on how those mediums work, I think is a great solution to bridge that gap.
Carrie, thank you. Very informative. Appreciate it very much. We can't afford not to do this. It's $3,400. I think the mistake is when we redid this, which was a rather costly project, that should have been included in it. I don't watch the cable channel. I agree the quality isn't great. But I just don't think with everything we're trying to do in terms of communication, and Dana's team is fantastic in terms of getting everything out, pushing it out. If there are a handful of people that still use this, that want to stay connected, I think it's worth the investment. Thanks.
Alderman Novit?
I agree with Alderman Powers. I think it's an important tool that there are people that,
I watch them. My husband watches it. Hi, Kent. I think it's easier for people who know how to turn on Channel 17 to turn on Channel 17 than to go to the website and look for the stream and take extra steps that are not intuitive steps. And especially for the seniors who know the way they know and don't want to have to go through the machinations of learning a new way to do it. I think communication is vitally important. The more we show people what we're doing, the more they trust us about what we're doing, and the less reason there is for anyone to question what we're doing. I think it's important, and I think we should keep it.
Did you?
It doesn't matter.
Alderman Levert?
I too am in support of keeping it. I think it's important that somebody came tonight to speak up on behalf of those that use it and had firsthand experience of a situation where it really added to the quality of life and the ability to stay current on what's going on in Lake Forest. I don't think it's a big cost issue, so I just don't see the need to eliminate it yet until we learn more about maybe the users out there. But for now, I think it should stay.
Alderman Balther?
I don't find the cost to be a limiting factor here, but one of my concerns is if we're going to make this change, which frankly I actually think it's a positive thing, but this would allow us to train our community to use the live stream solution, because one of the things that we might find ourselves in, right? This room is very small. How nice would it be to host a big meeting at the new police facility sometime in the future where they may not have the ability to broadcast over the TV? And I don't know, Carrie, maybe you can comment on that, whether or not the new facility will have that capability. But if the ability to live stream is really available there, we could have had the Deer Path Art League and all their family members, 120 people or so at that meeting, and all enjoy it, and their grandparents from remotely watch it. So my question to you, I guess, Carrie, is when meetings are held outside of the city council building right now, they're not on TV. No meetings at municipal services, no meetings at the new police facility. What will the future hold for those two locations in terms of TV coverage?
Correct. So anything that's held outside of these chambers would not be on the cable channel. As of right now, in order to ensure that it is on the cable channel, we would have to make sure we're installing the proper equipment and everything that we need to put it out onto our channel. And I don't know how feasible that is. I would have to look into that with Comcast to know that for certain.
Alderman Novit?
I'm sorry, I'm just leading off of what Rich said, but we can broadcast, if we tape a meeting, we can put it up on the Channel 17 channel, right? So it doesn't have to be a live feed.
Correct. The only thing that is live are these 3 meetings held here.
Right.
But yes, we could put other content on the channel if it was recorded.
So I have a further question then along those lines. We used to watch the Lake Forest Day Parade on the channel. We used to watch the dance recitals from the Rec Center dance program on the channel. We've watched other community events on the channel. And I'm wondering if there's a way we can utilize the channel to make better content, more content of things that already exist, but just aren't put up on the channel anymore.
So we utilize mostly our YouTube and our social media and things where we get that heavier engagement and the better quality going out rather than the cable broadcast. And I think it's more of a separate conversation as to what we want to put on the cable channel. If we're keeping it for the purpose of tonight, I think we wanted to get the council's direction and opinion on whether or not to keep it before we go into any further conversation.
I have a couple of questions. The first is, how much dead air time is actually being just siphoned, through? We've got, say, how many meetings a month? 6 meetings that are being, if that are being broadcast?
If that. So we have our
only live.
Correct. Live, we have our 2 city council meetings a month. If there's finance committee right before that, it's essentially the same meeting. And then plan commission. And Kathy could speak to it better than I can, but I know that often plan commission is canceled if there's no business. So a handful of times throughout the year. Beyond that, we are filling with the informational slides. And we don't regularly update those slides either.
My second question is, with the new technology and people moving away from Comcast simply because of a cost issue. So we had someone speak about seniors watching, that this is their means for communication, but is Comcast almost pricing out that demographic group because it's so expensive? Or is the cable access channel part of a basic package? I guess that's what I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, the cable access is part of the basic package.
Okay.
And I can't speak to the prices that Comcast is offering at this time. We did ask them if they had metrics even on subscribership in Lake Forest, and they did not provide that either. It's proprietary to them.
And if residents were moving away from Comcast and moving towards things like Amazon Fire Sticks or Hulu or other type of TV options, Channel 17 is not included in those services?
Correct.
Okay. Do we know at Lake Forest Place what type of cable is provided at that location? I'm just thinking of an area of where there's a large group of residents. It's individual subscriptions? Okay. So when I think about the future of cable TV, for someone who actually used to have a show on Channel 17 inside Lake Forest, still on YouTube if you'd like to see me from about 15 years ago, let's step inside. What's driving, I mean, I do like Alderman Walther's perspective of when there's a change, an opportunity to really teach people and educate people about what options are moving forward. I can only speak at our ward meeting. We always ask how people heard about the meeting, and it's generally the website, the e-news, and the dialogue. Do any of you aldermen get feedback on that? I'm just curious.
My comment is really pertaining to, I don't think anybody goes to Channel 17 for information. They go to watch a meeting. And when there's an important meeting for historic preservation, sometimes those meetings are broadcast on Channel 17. That's where I watch them. And I really think this is a matter of realizing that people have prescribed habits and prescribed ways of getting information. In this instance, watching meetings. You don't go to, I wouldn't go to Channel 17 to find out when garbage pickup is. That's a website question. But to watch a meeting, which I think is a very different question than where do you get your information, I think Channel 17 is where people who have always gone to Channel 17 will go to find a meeting.
I think the question on the table really is, though, what percentage of residents are doing that? Because I can tell you my constituents are not. And I'm just saying, you know.
I think, though, our constituents are. There's a sheet, it was mentioned, if it's true, 25% of the community is probably watching it, and a large part of that would be where we happen to live.
And I could just jump in. I think part of what drove the staff discussion is just recognizing the contrast in the quality of the video and audio production. We know at this point that the Channel 17 option is a simply inferior quality product and a viewing experience. And certainly our, I think, preference is to drive people towards the higher quality option. Having said that, this is not a strong staff recommendation. So if there doesn't seem to be a strong consensus on the council to remove it, it is a fairly immaterial expense. It wasn't just being driven by cost considerations. It was really about optimizing the more efficient and effective technology to provide a better user experience for residents. But again, fairly simple for us to continue on with Channel 17 at this point. If there doesn't seem to be a strong consensus amongst the council to get rid of it, and we can continue to do that while, of course, still encouraging residents who are newer to the community, getting engaged with the city to utilize, I think, what is clearly the superior platform for viewing our meetings.
Great. Well, I'll ask if there's any additional public comment on this subject that we haven't heard already. Please step up.
Thank you so much. Actually, I don't use cable. I dropped it years ago. I use a service called Roku, and I use the web. However, a lot of people still like this, and if we can just split the difference, like keep it and have people visit the seniors and train them on using the website, that would kind of help. But I know a lot of seniors, and they're not technically smart. In fact, they just think keeping the window, opening windows means open the window, not just on the computer, right? So it's a running joke with most of people I know. So I would like to see it, even though the quality isn't great, if we have 25% of the population who are seniors, most of them are using cable, I'm guessing. Some of them are not, but it's not a big expense considering everything else we expend. So, thank you.
Please come up.
Since I have a second opportunity to say something, I do know very, very many seniors who use cable, and as much as even I would like to teach them how to stream on their computers, they don't want to look at something this big. They want their TV. They know how to use their channels. They don't want to do anything else. And I know the quality isn't that great. I'm hoping it might even be better when you improve the equipment. But I would like to see, I know some seniors, and many seniors, because I'm at Dickinson Hall a lot. I know a lot of seniors, a lot of neighbors that sit in front of their TV. You could use that Channel 17 in many productive ways as just one more vehicle to reach more people that maybe can't get out of their house. They're not going to be calling to tell you that they didn't see a meeting on TV. They're not going to be calling you. They just aren't going to do that. But they want to be part of this community. They are part of this community. And by you allowing them the opportunity to turn their TV on and see something about the city makes them feel a bigger part, and it's not a big cost, I don't believe, for our city. So thank you for your willingness to consider those people that may not be here to ask for this. Thank you.
Well, I'm not really seeing a consensus here on one way or the other, so I think we'll continue with the
I think
motion at this point.
No, I don't think so. Again, the dollar amounts well within staff spending authority. We don't need council action on that. It was really just seeking direction. The only point I'll make, just for clarification so it's understood, these upgrades are really just to keep the system operational. It doesn't impact the quality of the production. We have no control over that. So I don't want to set false hopes that the quality of the video or audio is going to be improved. It won't. This will effectively just keep the lights on. But again, based on conversation this evening, happy to move forward with that and keep it going.
Carrie, thank you for the information.
Thank you.
I didn't understand. So is this if you have what, Comcast cable or whatever they call it, Xfinity?
Yeah,
cable?
you got the Wayne's World channel.
19.
17, yeah.
What is that? So that's different than when you watch it on YouTube?
Yeah, different.
It used to be like when I was younger in Lake Forest, you turn on your TV, and then if you went to channel
Public access channel.
watch City
Wayne's World.
Right. I mean, so it's very outdated, 100%. But what was the
Or
cost?
the people at Lake Forest.
3,500.
Well, 3,500 to update the stuff so it can route through Comcast or Xfinity or whatever. But the problem is the quality is so bad over there. Even if you route it over there, it still looks like crap to watch it in the nursing home. And
Well, how is that different than watching it on YouTube?
YouTube, it's a clear. You could, dude. We've been doing it for years.
Try to articulate.
Right, I get that.
Yeah,
Wait, hold on, Jeff.
Why
Tell me what
can't
I'm.
why can't the quality be the same on YouTube as cable TV? I don't have the technical expertise to know
Oh,
why. Can you
Well, go back in time and go to
educate me?
IIT. Jeff, what were you trying to say before Jeff was waltzing all over you?
No, I was saying what you're trying to articulate is, a question is, do we ask our seniors to learn a new technology versus paying extra to adapt for right now? So I don't know the answer. I would take, how many views do we actually have on channel 17? You got to get that data.
You can't.
And
They tried. Comcast won't give it out.
Comcast won't give them the data, so they
Right.
don't know how many views.
The city does have a tool.
I can finish the question for Jeff if you'd like, Joe.
Bring it.
All right, go ahead, and then I'm going to say something.
Oh, of course you are. So they couldn't get the data. They're doing all that stuff. So what they went to the old survey that they did for Lake Forest, and they saw 1% of the people in town get their information from that cable channel. Sure. Look, here's what you do.
That's
You want a
2,000
solution? Okay. Print out the transcript for them in really large font and give it into their little nursing home newsletter. Say, here's the city council. That's my first suggestion, number one, because they like to read it right after watching the obituaries. They go to that to read it. Second thing that they can do is they can go into the community room and say, hey, the city council meeting is on. Come on in here, and we're watching it on YouTube, and the facilities director can put it on there for him. There you go. Continue, Joe.
Well,
You're
no,
just
I was gonna say,
assuming everyone's
the
at
city.
Pembroke.
All these local governments have franchise agreements with the cable company. And years ago, that was your tool to say, that's how they got these public access channels in the first place, was, okay, you want to do business in our city, you're going to dedicate a channel to public access for local government and stuff. And some towns, they had a channel for city government and a channel for the school and all sorts of stuff. But that was, back in the 80s and maybe the early 90s. But so I don't know if the city still does a franchise agreement with Comcast, but Comcast is making a boatload of money here still in Lake Forest. So if the city does have a franchise agreement tool with them, I would rather see Comcast be forced to spend that money than us, the taxpayers.
That was a good answer, Joe.
Yeah, Joe. Really good. Look, $3,500. So look, all the detractors from Lake Forest Place, and what is the other home that we have in town, Jeff? Kelmcott Place, something place.
Yeah, you got that. You got Lake Forest Place is by the hospital, of course.
You got Joanne Desmond going up in front of city council right then and there. It's like, oh my God, it's the 5% outliers that are, pushing against something. And the city council is like, all right, 3,500, whatever. But, like, push it. Well, they don't want to learn something new. Well, they don't have to learn anything new. Here you go. In 20-point font, here's what happened in the city council meeting. Tell you what, I'll even make a little summary for them to give it to them if they want to.
They already have it. It's called minutes. They approve they approve the minutes from every meeting at the next meeting. So
why doesn't former Alderman Bushman, who lives, I believe, at Lake Forest Place, he could be the conduit for this, or maybe he doesn't know how to use the technology.
Because when you put a transcription up against minutes, minutes tend to lack. And speaking of lacking,
yeah, but we don't hire court reporters for.
Yeah, I was going to say that in fairness to the city clerk, she's not a court reporter. The minutes are to be a summary of the meeting. They're not a transcript of the meeting.
Right.
Right. That's why I say that we should have a newsletter made with the actual words that are in there in a larger font that they can read. Huh?
Well, YouTube generates a transcript.
Yeah, it's automatic
of it, though it's not perfect. Have you guys I was reading the transcript of the city council meeting when I was on the airplane.
Urso, you're 70 going on 40, man. What?
Have you ever read those?
Yeah, every day.
You could say 7 and it'll say 17. Literally every time you read those things, you're setting yourself up for disaster. Someone's gonna call the city and be like, "What do you mean we just passed $100 million budget?" Like, no, $100. Because that AI stuff that
you're what that argument they're using, Jeff?
Screws up everything.
People used that when Wikipedia first came out. And
Well, I'm going to pull the transcript right
Britannica?
now. The most
Wikipedia, you
recent
have to
city
be
council
careful on
meeting.
Wikipedia. I had a friend in Lake Forest get sued over a Wikipedia page he wrote, which was terrible that he wrote it. But I'm just saying, like, people could put whatever they want.
Okay. How's the encyclopedia business doing?
I don't know. I haven't.
Whatever. Go ahead, Joe.
I like Wikipedia, but
I'm pulling up the transcript of the June 2nd Lake Forest City Council meeting.
Yeah.
Is this a AI?
It's because you can do it right in YouTube, right on the app.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, number one, it doesn't tell you who's speaking. It just has the words. And I'm going to find it. I'm going to find an example where it totally messes up the meaning.
I think he's trying to drive home my point where it's just it's
you know
dangerous
what?
to use that.
If you guys are going to play the confirmation bias game, do it like an hour before the show. So when you come on here, there's actually some
well, we
bias.
didn't know you were going to bring
point.
this up.
Okay, well, looks like I'm prepared. I gave you the answers for the test.
All right, $3,500. Keep the channel for now.
I'm just saying these YouTube transcripts, these auto-generated transcripts. Okay, here's right at the beginning. Good evening, Lake Forest City Council. Can I have a motion to appoint Alderman Weber? Wait, hold on. It scrolled back. Hold on. Can I have a motion to appoint Alderman Weber as Mayor Prom? Instead of Mayor Prom. Not Mayor Pro Tem, but Mayor Prom. Now I know she owns the flowers shop, which did a lot of business for Prom.
Pete, you're out of luck here, bud. It's over.
I know.
But Mayor Prom instead of Mayor Pro Tem. I rest my case.
When I'm 90 and you guys have caught up to me finally. Guys, look.
My son will out technology you any day, Peter.
Okay. All right. I'm just saying there are things out there that can be done that we don't have to spend that $3,500 on.
I agree. I agree with. And like I said,
when Joanne
Comcast is still
look.
Thank God Ara Gashgarian won that election in 2019. That's all I'm going to say. Instead of his opponent.
Much to all the hard work that Philippe Millen did. What?
Much to the great work that Eric Gashgarian did. Let's just leave it at that.
Paying $6,000 to Philippe for that election. That's
dude. I don't go there.
What I just did. Why? Okay, I can't. Okay, I'll edit that out too. Anything else I should edit out?
No.
Okay.
I mean,
whatever. Look, I'm here to make sure you guys are having an enjoyable experience.
Hey,
putting the news out there that you're comfortable letting Lake Forest know.
Hey, Skoo comes on every week with his beef. I'm coming on this week with my beef.
Yeah, what is your beef?
My property tax bill was due this week.
Oh.
Holy shysters.
Matt Montgomery?
Yes. I got some numbers here that I wrote down.
What are you laughing at?
Okay, so they have maxed out on their tax levy, something you cannot say about the city. $106 million referendum. They just approved another $10 million in bonded debt for safety, energy conservation, and security. That's on top of the referendum that they've passed. And when you do those bonded debts, guess who pays for that? We do. That's a backdoor tax.
Wait, hold on. Is that our surplus that they're using to pay that for? Because they can't get any more money. They can get their expense.
He's talking about this.
So if you take District 67 and 115 combined,
okay,
you have $123 million in bonded debt, over $80 million in projected interest payment, and nearly $205 million in total debt service. And you break that out for households, that's over 20 years, about $27,000, which if you adjust for the cost of living is over almost $45,000. Okay? They do a maximum levy every year. All right? And having someone that's been in those classrooms, the new ones they built, they're not that great.
How can
The
you
new
say
ones.
that, Joe?
I can speak I've talked to at least one child, one student that's been in one of these new classrooms that they built, and they're not that great.
So this is an N of one.
For what we're spending. We should be getting like a Taj Mahal.
What's the solution, Joe?
The solution is vouchers.
Or what,
Okay.
private
Seriously,
school?
I've said this many times on the show. I think Matt Montgomery's a nice guy. I'm sure he comes to work every day trying to do the right thing as superintendent, just as I'm sure all the teachers there try to do the right thing and educate the
Duly
kids.
said, all prefaced, going forward.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah,
There
we
is
got
so
played.
much
We got
waste
played.
in public. There is so much waste in public education. All right. There's a reason Donald Trump wants to get rid of the United States Department of Education. There's a reason Ronald Reagan wanted to get rid of it. Okay. There is so much spending of money in the name of for the children that's where your taxes are skyrocketing. All right. City of Lake Forest, I'm sure we can find things here and there that they
We
could do
have
a
the
better
lowest
job
tax
on.
rate in the north suburbs, Joe. What are you talking about? Our AAA
The
bond
city,
rating?
the city has the lowest municipal tax rate in the north suburbs.
So what's your problem? Why are you complaining?
The school district, they can't say that because they're not even close.
But when you
All
take
right?
an aggregate all the taxes, we have the lowest tax rate in the northern burbs, Joe.
With all the taxes?
Yeah.
The school part too?
All of it, yeah.
Well, then we're the best among the worst. All right, go to
Yeah,
Florida,
we're in Illinois,
go to
Joe.
Texas.
Hi,
Go to
welcome to
other
Illinois.
states where the schools are just as good as Illinois and see how much lower the property taxes are.
Why don't you go do that, get some data, and come back to me, Joe?
I've got plenty of data to show you, Pete.
What?
I could
What
give you
data you got to show me?
a stack of data.
A stack of what? Show me a stack.
Do you think that
I do
your
think,
taxes
yes.
are fine from the school district? You think the tax rate is fair from the school district?
Fair is a very relative term. I do know that we were part of this $105 million joke that we helped put through, and I'm pissed at myself.
I didn't help put it through. I voted no.
I didn't. I voted no too, but we put the guy on the show here, and he said he was going to do one thing, and then something else happened. So that's part our bad. So I get it. I get it. So the taxes are up. What's your solution? Okay. Here, pick any school you want to go to.
All right,
in Illinois, that's not going to happen.
Vouchers is a national solution or a statewide solution, but locally.
Yeah.
Why do we need an administrative office and an administrative staff in Lake Forest, in Deerfield, in Libertyville? Go on and on and on. How much money are we wasting on administrative costs because these school districts are so small? You've heard me say this statistic before, but I'll say it again. 1 out of every 10 school districts in the United States is in the state of Illinois. That's whacked. And that's because there's a bunch of people trying to protect their little fiefdoms. And protect
In our
their jobs.
lifetime, what can we do right now? This is like in our kids'
Consolidate
lifetime.
school. You could start with consolidating school districts.
Well,
not closing schools. I'm not suggesting closing schools. I'm not suggesting kids in Lake Forest go to
Let the
school.
former manager of Shield speak. Go ahead, Jeff.
67 and 115. They're already. I mean, we already use the same administrative staff to operate both. Correct?
That's a start, but that is a drop in the bucket compared to what could be saved.
Maybe the thought process in the future could be including 65 with that.
I just think, like I said, you go down Waukegan Road to that Lake Forest West campus, and there is a ton of administrative offices. What's that?
I love that building. I went to school there for 2 years. I mean, that's
Did
like
you really?
I'm like, why do you
I'm not saying anything's wrong with the building. What I'm saying is you have all that administrative office there, and then you go down Waukegan
they rent
Road,
out a lot of that building to other
but
entities.
you go down Waukegan Road 5 miles south or whatever it is south, and then there's a bunch of administrative offices in Deerfield.
Well, Deerfield and Highland Park is one school district too.
Right, but why can't we have one big school district
Like a
and then
county
just have a
school
Lake
district?
Forest schools? And that's what other states do. Other states don't have these little tiny school districts.
I like where your head's at. I think is my normal push on Lake Forest and Lake Bluff becoming one big happy family. I think that makes a lot of sense. I do think it would be dangerous to start merging other North Shore communities. I think depending on, and you guys know, Lake Forest is different than Deerfield, is different than Highland Park, is different than Lincolnshire, and now all of a sudden your voice becomes less in a bigger pot, right? So I think one of the things that makes Lake Forest so special, so unique, and so good is our school districts. I think they do a good job. How they spend their money, I don't know. Can it be done more efficiently? I don't know. So I mean, we have a really old building, but like we talked about, it's iconic, and we spend extra money to stay in an old building versus upgrading, to just a cookie cutter building on the west side. So, there's different things they do that they spend money. I don't know any of that, so I'm not going to talk about the economics of that. But I think overall there's got to be efficiencies, and maybe they should have an efficiency committee.
Doge.
A Doge.
Hey, Elon's got some time. Pete, your buddy Elon's got some time on his hands now.
He's had it.
He's had a falling out with President Trump.
I think he's had. Well, you couldn't get that big ass bill passed without putting all that fudge in there.
Well, that's
part of it is
again,
like the tip.
I knew that was going to happen.
I mean, that's going to cost hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. But I mean, that's great. I mean, it's going back into people that are going to spend 100% of their income back into the economy. So,
fair enough.
I mean, I think that part's good.
But I do think, and we've talked about this before, Pete. I mean, the Elon analogy is kind of a red herring, but the idea that you bring in more people into public education with a business background, because like I said, all the teachers there are very nice people who come to work every day trying to do the right thing for the students.
Duly noted going forward.
But you don't have a business mentality there. You have basically everyone there for the children, and it is for the children, that is correct. But there's no sense of business. There's no business sense going on there. You have people that used to be teachers that are now in charge of business. And God bless the teachers, but I don't want a guy who did plumbing to suddenly have to do my electrical work. All right?
Is that a shot?
I think you need more business people. It doesn't have to be Elon Musk, but that idea that you bring in people to look for efficiencies, to look for ways to save cost to the taxpayers, because Illinois has the highest property taxes in the country. All right. And
did you see that on Wikipedia?
You could look at anywhere. It could be anywhere to find that. That's an easy piece of information to find. We need to figure out a way to educate kids at a lower cost. Other states have done it. Florida has a voucher system. All right. Any kid in Florida can choose whether they go to a public school or a private school, regardless of their income. That alone saved hundreds of millions of dollars to the taxpayers in Florida.
Joe, we're in Illinois. Speaking of being in Illinois, what's going on Friday, Jeff? I'm in the mood of seeing some tractors. Anybody know of a place I can go to Friday to see really big rigs?
The Public Works. Open house.
Look on the printout I gave you guys.
Oh, the Public Works printout. Okay.
We went there last year, and your mic didn't record it as well as we wanted to.
Because there was nothing really said. There was big ass trucks.
Well, you had Era Gashgarian.
Like I said,
you did a great interview with him, and nobody could hear it.
You know what? Nobody missed anything. We're okay. Era, I love you, baby. I love you.
But it's nice to see how your taxes are spent. It's fun for the kids to climb on top of the snow plow and the dump trucks and all that stuff, and to see what's going on. And like I said, we have a great public works department. Those guys do a great job.
Especially some guys that just retired.
Yeah, we had two. What was it? Two retired. This
I don't know. Read off the piece of paper there.
I believe you said two. Now I got to go back because I had my notes for the school.
But I will say this: the public works guys are all. I mean, I know.
Yeah, they are.
I know Matt does.
Dan Martin and Chuck Myers. Dan
30
Martin was with Public Works for 32 years
32 years.
and Chuck Myers 14 years.
He's seen a lot of
So
crap, literally, I'll bet.
listen, the three things that everyone in this city uses, whether you're the wealthy or poor or anywhere in between, police department, fire
And,
department, and public works.
and Channel 17.
No. Don't insult our public works guys by putting them in the same sentence as Channel 17.
Those poor guys. I don't know about your recycling trash can. Mine looks like NASCAR with all their stickers.
Well, you need to, Bart the card is going to come and beat the crap out of you one day because
Since when you can't put a dirty pizza box in a recyclable?
because you're wasting their
Jeff, you know anything about
public
pizza
works
boxes?
guys then have to take that out and throw it in the trash. So you're creating extra work for them and extra taxpayer costs. So
I
leave the
know
damn
that a lot of
label.
recycling is actually garbage. I know about the pizza boxes, obviously.
You're a culprit, bud.
I've 100%. I've been to the plant, so I mean we use LRS, but I've gotten tours of a plant years ago, like 8 years ago, and it goes down a line and the recycling, people are throwing out. The only thing I gotta say about that annoys me is so for like a commercial building like me, right? I want to recycle more. I have one recycling thing just for straight up occupancy. I would do more recycling, but the amount of money Groot charges you to recycle is crazy. You think that they would be like, hey, I'm going to split this up into garbage, glass, cardboard. No, if you do that, they charge you triple. So it's almost like they encourage you to throw everything in the garbage can. It's kind of crazy.
They're really banking on how guilty you're going to feel.
Well, the dirty little secret of recycling is that the money is in the cans, is in the aluminum. All right. And then to a certain degree, the paper. But the plastics, they lose money recycling plastics.
Yeah.
But that said, if you don't recycle plastics, you got other problems. So
and then while we're on this, one thing I think we should consider to do in Lake Forest is what they did in Lake Bluff. So I used to have Lake Bluff contracts everything to Groot, right? Lake Forest, we do our own.
Yeah.
But the village went into a commercial contract with a carrier. So when I had Donati's over in West Lake Bluff, we were paying $700, $800 a month for our dumpster. Once the village entered in a contract, and we already had Groot at the time, literally my bill fell down to $200. So the city, I think, could consider entering into a commercial contract for whatever they want for these big dumpsters all around town. It would have less garbage trucks driving around. So you give a contract to one purveyor. So whether it's Groot, LRS, Waste Management. But right now, I think I could have Groot and Chiefs could have Waste Management and someone else could have LRS. Like you have a choice. But when you give them one big fat contract and basically allow them to use
you're saying Public Works would continue to do the residential stuff.
Right. And then force the
here in Lake Forest, because I think it is a good. I talked to somebody about this once from the city, and they did a study a few years ago about contracting out garbage pickup, like so many other towns have done, to companies like Groot.
Right.
And they calculated it that there really was no savings because they needed to keep that number of public works people to do other things, and this was something that would
fills in the
they could
time,
handle within that workload. So that's good, because I think, having lived in towns where it was outsourced, the service wasn't as good. I mean, these guys are top notch. They take really great pride in their
Just
work.
like our community.
You don't see that with some of the private contractors in these cases. So,
but
I wasn't aware of I wasn't aware of how they did it with commercials. So that is an interesting point of maybe getting a unified contract together for all the commercial.
And it's less wear and tear on our streets.
There's no politics involved in that, though.
It's not as bad as you think, honestly. You put it out.
How
for
bad
bid.
do I think?
No, you put it out for bid. You
So you're saying Lake Bluff did that?
Lake Bluff did it. So they used to be residential only, and then they encompassed all the commercial. So now if you have a commercial business inside the village of Lake Bluff, you have to use Groot. You don't have a choice. And I was against that at first. I'm like, oh, no choice, no choice. Like you're forcing us into something. My bill dropped by like 80%. It was insane.
Yeah. Let's give out one more PSA before we drop off, because we're talking about group purchasing type of deals. Your electricity bill, everybody gets confused. You got good old ComEd, and you have whatever this third party that comes in. What I would tell everybody to do is never, well, never say never, but I'm saying never in this case, let somebody farm out to these other peoples for this group deal. Do ComEd take the hourly rate? They have a plan there that you can use. Run all your stuff at night. Your bill will drop by a third. I guarantee it, Jeff Urso.
Well, I've never heard the phrase good, the word good used with ComEd before, because that company's done a lot of shady stuff. Just look at the Madigan trial.
These third-party companies, they get you on this it's a bait and switch. I've dealt with this plenty. You sign, you get a nice low rate, and then if you forget May 13th of 2027, before then, your rate just went up quadruple and you get a $3,000 bill. It's insane. So I hate those third-party suppliers. I mean, ComEd does the supply, they're the provider, whatever.
Yeah.
I hate those.
Get your hourly pricing plan, everybody. I don't know if you can do it for commercial, but definitely for residential. Get the hourly plan. You only pay for high demand.
Put the information up like with a link, so
I'll put. You know what?
So what do you do, Pete? What do you do in the summer when it's 105 degrees in the middle of the day?
Pay more per kilowatt hour.
Go to the beach.
Go to Duffers.
No, but it'll say the day before. It'll say, hey, during the hours of 6 and 8, because they're going to project how much the grid is going to have to pump into Lake Forest. It'll say your price is going to be X amount. Be careful. Don't run any heavy duty appliances then. I'm just saying, you want to save a third on your bill, do it.
Hourly. You charge your Tesla at night?
Yeah, at night, timed. And you know what? You can go anywhere from 30 cents a kilowatt hour all the way down to a nickel.
I like this. I actually did not know about this, Pete. So if you could, I'll click on your.
I will hook you up, Jeff Urso, and anybody else. You want Uncle Pete on the street to keep an eye on things, even though school is
I think that Cybertruck can charge all the houses on Gransby there.
You can plug in things. The only downside with the Cybertruck is trying to get it washed. Not a lot of people will take the thing into.
Get the garden hose out, buddy.
I know, I did. I bought a power washer. First time in I don't know ever I got a power washer. So I'm going to see if I can blow through.
Don't hit yourself with that power washer. I did that once. It hurt.
Is that what happened?
It hit my foot.
Jeff Urso, what's going on in the bars this weekend? Any shout outs we got to give? You also give a shout out to your little group, the Lake Forest, Lake Bluff Dine-In group on Facebook.
Oh yeah. They bounce around different restaurants and bars, and they support the community, and they have a newcomers group as well that kind of does that. So there's a couple different groups. I think Joe was were you part of the newcomers, or you were in it, right?
Still am. I'm still a newcomer. Yeah. I'm actually the co-chair of the men's social outing.
There we go. And these guys, and they go to different restaurants, different bars, and they show people, around town. So it's great. I'm hoping we get some great weather, get these garage doors open, and so.
And your neighbor is opening. What was the date you said last week that the Italian restaurant?
June 10th. I think.
Soft. Really soft.
But it's gonna be cool. I mean, it looks. I mean, I got to walk through his kitchen. Ooh, it's so beautiful. I mean, it is.
So it's not called Taco though, right?
Tokco. No, it's Folia.
Tokco.
Folia. He's got a bunch of signage up now. So if you drive by our building.
Yeah, I was there the other night. I came in to pick up some of your delicious wings the other Saturday night when I got home at the airport. And that was my first stop before I even hit my house, was getting some of your wings.
Well, let me see if I can show you. I mean, he's got to fix up the courtyard a little bit.
Oh, here we go. An exclusive.
I like this. Walk and talk here.
So the courtyard's turned to some nice Italian villa.
Oh.
Whoa.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, it's all white now. Could probably see some cool signage. So
can I still get my toes down there?
You can. You got to jump over that fence over there. But I don't know. It's locked up. But yeah, it's coming
Press your
along.
nose against the window.
Ooh. No, I was going to give you a tour of the kitchen. Maybe I'll do that next week.
All right, very good.
I'll talk to him. But
let's get
it's
him
cool.
on. Let's get him on the show as a guest.
He's a nice guy. He's outgoing. I don't know. He might be a little shy. We'll see. Not everyone.
All right. Don't be shy. We want every restaurant owner in town, including Ferentino's, to come on this show.
Where's that? Where?
Do you remember when Ferentino's was Piero's?
Yeah, I used to work for him. Oh, I lost you.
No,
Yeah,
we're
I
right
can
here.
hear you. We're here. We
What's
got
up?
you, man.
Are you sure
Yeah,
you want
yeah.
to say that? You want me to cut that out, Jeff? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, when I was in high school, I absolutely
Oh,
used
all
to.
right.
I remember ordering from Piero's back in the 80s when I worked here. So
Yeah, I was on Oakwood.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Chef Boyardee pizza.
Yes.
All right, boys. Great episode.
Oh, I did not say yes sir to that. Don't. No. That's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Duly
stop.
noted. All negative comments from the show come from the mouth of Pete Jansons, never from Jeff Urso or Joe Weiss.
We're just here to make sure you don't get canceled, Pete.
Dude, I was.
Is there a Sox game on in the background there?
Yeah, I just watching them get beat. They're playing today at 6:05, tomorrow 1:05. So
real quick,
maybe getting
you're a big Sox fan, Joe? Are you a Sox fan?
I'm a
too?
Sox fan.
I'll text you.
What's really weird is the realization that I was in the same ballpark and at the same game as the Pope, because I was at that World Series game.
You know what's funny? I worked that World Series.
So you may have as a vendor?
Yeah, I worked. That was like, right in high school and right out of high school. So I was at the 05 series working, selling Dippin' Dots.
So you may have sold Dippin' Dots.
Dippin' Dots.
I was in left field. That he looks like he was.
I don't know, man. That was a pretty cold night. I don't know how many people had Dippin' Dots that night.
Hey, Jeff, go to Wikipedia and look who the owner of Dippin' Dots is, who created it. SIU grad, just throwing it out there. Good old buddy. Let you can do it nitrogen.
Carbondale or Edwardsville?
Yeah. All of it. Jeff, what I was trying to get to was the smoke out on Sundays. How's that going? Is it still going? What do I need?
Well, last week we skipped it. We were doing every week. We didn't have a team last week, so instead of just doing it to do it, we want to make sure we have a team. I got to look up who's playing this week or who's cooking this week, but I think we got a team out Sunday, 1:00.
Right.
So far, the best ribs that have been cooked is by the football coaches.
What?
Yeah, their ribs have been pretty on point. So pretty.
And if anybody's got a team out there that wants to do it, they can get a hold of you.
We buy all the meat. We give you all the supplies. You get free beverages while you're working, whatever you need to stay hydrated. And you get to keep some slabs for yourself, and then the rest we go out and everybody gets to taste.
Let me know when I'm going to bring my brisket over, Jeff. I need to know. I need to know when. Let me know.
The Lake Forest Podcast Barbecue.
That's right. Keep the health department away.
Jeff, he's got a grill hooked up to the Cyber truck.
Oh, they'll be partially cooked. They'll be prepped. Jeff Urso, Joe Weiss, another scintillating episode of Lake Forest Podcast. Thank you for sharing your views. Take care, all boy.
The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Michelle Parno has lived and worked in Lake Forest for over 2 decades. Michelle's lending experience, when combined with her real estate expertise, makes her an invaluable asset to her clients as they navigate their home buying or selling process. Call Michelle now at 847-528-8721, 847-528-8721. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit LaracyCPA.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com. I'm excited to share with you something special from our Lake Forest community, the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa, located at 775 North Bank Lane in Lake Forest near Wisconsin Avenue. This just isn't any spa. They offer an amazing blend of traditional spa services plus the added benefit of medical procedures and treatments. In a relaxing and luxurious spa environment, you can enjoy a range of cosmetic and aesthetic treatments. These are all performed under the supervision of top medical professionals. The Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa provides skin care, facial rejuvenation, body contouring, laser hair removal, Botox, dermal fillers, chemical peels, and much more. What's great is that each treatment is tailored not just to enhance your appearance, but also to address specific skin concerns and to promote overall well-being. So if you're looking to pamper yourself and take your beauty routine to the next level, give the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa a call at 224-768-8028 or visit them at their location on North Bank Lane. It's an experience your skin will thank you for. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, Herrick, JM, and Paul G.